Welcome to Hardcore Course in Miracles. This is Hardcore Course in Miracles, and this is Earl Purdy. And we're going to do Hardcore Course in Miracles. We're going to go deep into the Course in Miracles together. On Thursdays, I do a Hardcore Course in Miracles, and it's especially geared for Course in Miracles students, and anyone can listen and anyone can watch. You're all welcome to check this out. We're going to talk about the distortion of miracle impulses. That is the same as saying the distortion of love impulses. We're going to talk about the distortion of miracle impulses. We're going to talk about how do our love impulses get distorted? How do our miracle impulses get distorted? Welcome, mighty companions. I'm Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you to Hardcore Course in Miracles. We're going to go deep, and we're going to talk about the distortions of miracle impulses. What are the distortions of love impulses? How do we distort love impulses? How do we distort love impulses? That's on page 15. Page 15 in A Course in Miracles text, Foundation for Inner Peace version. We're going to be on page 15, the distortions of miracle impulses. That's what we're going to talk about. So get ready to focus in on it. Get ready to focus in on it. Remember only this. Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Did you know that? Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. That's the truth. Did you hear me? Some of the ideas you may actively resist, and some of the ideas you may find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling. Some of these ideas in A Course in Miracles may startle you. Some of the ideas in A Course in Miracles may startle you. Some of the ideas in A Course in Miracles you may find hard to believe. Some of the ideas in A Course in Miracles you may actively resist, and some of the ideas in A Course in Miracles you may not even welcome. Some of the ideas you need to remember that you need not accept the ideas. You need not even believe the ideas. You are not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. Some of it may startle you, but this is not a class. This is not a presentation on analyzing A Course in Miracles. You are not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. I'm going to tell you the secret. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. In A Course in Miracles, their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Tell yourself, their use will give the ideas meaning to me and will show me that the ideas are true. Why don't you say it to yourself? Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Page 15 in the text, The Distortions of Miracle Impulses. I'm Earl Purdy. I have been teaching and learning A Course in Miracles for almost 40 years. The last 30 years, it's what I've done full time. It was my calling. And so I am here to save you time. The Course in Miracles says the purpose of any relationship should be to save you time. So I would invite you to, use me. Take advantage of the fact that I've been obsessed with the Course in Miracles for almost 4 decades. And I've literally taught thousands of classes. And one of the things that I want to say to you is that I'm a divine repetition teacher. What I've learned about the Course in Miracles is that it's not about whether or not you understand everything that the Course in Miracles is saying and that you have to analyze it. What's important is to remember what the Course in Miracles is saying. One of the statements that the Course in Miracles makes more than any other statement is, remember this. The word remember is used in the Course in Miracles over and over and over and over and over again. Also in the Course in Miracles, you'll hear the word don't forget. He'll say, don't forget, remember, don't forget, remember, don't forget. There's nowhere in A Course in Miracles where it says analyze. There's nowhere that it's saying analyze A Course in Miracles. And many Course in Miracles students get together and they analyze the Course. And the Course itself says that analyzation of the Course destroys the meaning of it. Analyzing the Course destroys the meaning of it. It says it right there in the book. So I'm not going to do opposite to what the Course in Miracles is saying. So I'm going to read the first paragraph, and then I'm going to go back through it, and we're going to see if we can get the main message that the Course in Miracles is saying to us. You ready? Your distorted perceptions. Whose distorted perceptions? Your distorted perceptions produce a dense cover over miracle impulses. So your distorted perceptions produce a dense cover over miracle impulses. And that makes it hard for miracle impulses to reach your own awareness. So what keeps love impulses from reaching your awareness? You have a deep cover over your miracle impulses. The confusion of miracle impulses with physical impulses is a major perceptual distortion. So what is a major perceptual distortion? It's the confusion of miracle impulses with physical impulses. What are physical impulses? What are physical impulses? Physical impulses are misdirected miracle impulses. All real pleasure comes from doing God's will. This is because not doing God's will is a denial of self. Denial of self results in illusions, while correction of the error brings release from illusions. Do not deceive yourself into believing that you can relate in peace to God or to your brothers with anything external. Wow. Okay, let's hear that first paragraph again, mighty companions. It's so good to see all of you online. So, now, the Course in Miracles is only talking about love or fear here on page 15 in the text. So I'm going to show you some tips about how to read the Course in Miracles. So the Course in Miracles says a miracle is a correct perception. A miracle is an expression of love. So it's talking about the distortion of love impulses. So what is covering up your love impulses? The Course says, what is it that's covering up a person's impulse to love? What is covering up our impulses to love? It says, well, it's your distorted perceptions. And so what is a distorted perception? According to the Course in Miracles, a distorted perception is a fearful perception. So a distorted perception is a fearful perception. So your fears produce a dense cover over your love impulses. So when a person is in fear, when a person has a distorted perception, it makes it hard for them love impulses to reach your awareness. So what is it that's keeping the love impulse from reaching a person's awareness? What is keeping the love impulse from reaching a person's awareness are your fears. Do you know that the confusion of miracle impulses with physical impulses is a major perceptual distortion? What does that mean? See, when a person has a love impulse, when they have a miracle impulse, they think it's a physical impulse. Sometimes they think it's a sexual impulse. Sometimes they think it's some type of a physical impulse. So the Course in Miracles is telling us that sometimes we can sometimes we confuse love with sex. In the annotated version of A Course in Miracles, which gives some additional information that was left out of this particular version, Jesus in A Course in Miracles, in the annotated version, talked a lot about sex, and how we confuse the love impulses with a sexual impulse, with a physical impulse. And you know that one thing we tend to do is confuse sex with love. That is, and because we feel a physical attraction, think that that's a love attraction. So the Course says the confusion of miracle impulses with physical impulses is a what? Major perceptual distortion. So what's a major perceptual distortion? It is confusing physical impulses with love impulses, miracle impulses. Okay, so what is a physical impulse then? What is a physical impulse? What is a sexual impulse? The Course says in many cases it's a misdirected miracle impulse. So what we look for in terms, now the Course is not judging, condemning, or putting down physical impulses or physical pleasure, because the Course doesn't condemn or judge anything. So there's nothing in love that judges anything that we do. And I'm finding that to be a really important point. You do not ever have to wonder if the Course in Miracles is judging and condemning us in any kind of way, because love doesn't judge and it doesn't condemn. So it's just telling us what's going on. It's saying physical impulses are misdirected miracle impulses. And all real pleasure comes from doing God's will. So if you really want to know do you really want to know what real pleasure comes from? The Course says real pleasure comes from doing God's will. And another term for God is love. So when you're doing the will of love, that's where real pleasure comes from. Real pleasure comes from doing God's will. Real pleasure comes from doing the will of the Creator. Real pleasure comes from doing God's will. Real pleasure comes from doing God's will. That's because not doing God's will, when you don't do God's will, you are actually in a denial of yourself, because you are God's will. According to the Course, you are God's will. You exist because it was God's will for you to exist. You exist because it was the will of love for you to exist. So when you do your will, when you do God's will, which is your will, which is the same thing, then that's when you're going to start having real pleasure. And anything that's real, remember, is something that never ends. If something is real, it never ends. If something is real, it never ends. Something that is real is permanent. Something that is real is eternal. Something that is real just expands and it extends and it is eternal. So you are God's will. So what you are is eternal. What you are is love. You are the will of God. You are the will of love. Denial of self results in illusions, while correction of the error brings release from it. So when you deny that you are love, it results in fears. So a person that is not aware that they are love, then they are full of fear, because the Course in Miracles defines fear as an illusion. So when you're denying that you are love, when you are denying that you are God's will, that's where fears and guilt and anger and grievances and separation comes from. Fear and anger and grievances come from denying that you are love. The Course in Miracles is only talking about love or fear. It's only talking about oneness or separation, which is the same thing. Don't make the Course in Miracles complicated. Don't make the Course in Miracles complicated. Don't make the Course in Miracles complicated. So it's saying to you, do not Here's your instruction. Do not deceive yourself. Deceive yourself how? Do not deceive yourself into believing that you can relate in peace to God or to your equals. We said before that the Course in Miracles defines the term brothers as equals. So don't deceive yourself. How? Don't believe that you can relate in peace to God or to anybody else with anything external. That's interesting. The Course says don't deceive yourself. Don't think that you can really relate to God or anybody else with anything external. There's nothing external that makes real relationships. Real relationships come from what is going on internally. Real relationships come from what is going on internally. Real relationships don't really come from anything external. Real relationships, relating in a real way, comes from internal, the love that's inside of us, the truth that's inside of us. That's where love comes from. That's how you relate. So that was the first paragraph. So what the first paragraph tells us? It says we don't need to deceive ourselves by believing that we can really relate in peace to anyone from anything external. We relate in peace by having peace within us. From the peace within me, I relate to you. From the peace within me, from the happiness in me, from the love in me. That's how I relate to you. That's how I relate to God. From the love in us, from the peace in us. It's not going to really ultimately come from anything that's happening outside. We're on page 15. We're on a section called the Distortion of Miracle Impulses in A Course in Miracles. And that's the same as saying the distortion of love impulses. So let's go to paragraph 2. I'm going to read through it first with a little juice, and then we're going to go back through it. So take a breath and let me read it to you. Paragraph 2. So listen to me. Listen to me. Here we go. Child of God, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Do not forget this. Do not forget this. The love of God, the love of God, for a little while, must still be expressed through one body to another. The love of God, for a little while, must still be expressed through one body to another, because vision is still so dim. You can use your body best. You can use your body best to help you enlarge your perception. To help you enlarge your perception so you can achieve real vision. You can use your body best to help you enlarge your perception so that you can achieve real vision. You can use your body best to help you enlarge your perception so you can achieve real vision. So you can achieve real vision. You can use your body best to help you enlarge your perception so you can achieve real vision. You can use your body best to help you enlarge your perception so you can achieve real vision. You can use your body best to help you enlarge your perception so you can achieve real vision, of which the physical eye is incapable. The physical eye is incapable of real vision. The physical eye is incapable of real vision. Learning to do this, learning to do what? Learning to use your body to help you enlarge your perception so you can achieve real vision is the body's only true usefulness. So what is the body's only true usefulness? What is the body's only true usefulness? What is the body's only true usefulness? You use your body best to help you enlarge your perception. Use your body to enlarge your perception of love. So, use your body best to enlarge your perception so you can achieve real vision, real sight. Real vision is real sight. The physical eye is incapable of real vision. Did you hear the Course in Miracles say that the physical eye is incapable of real vision? Learning to use your body to enlarge your perception, that is the body's only real usefulness. So, child of God. So, let's go back through it. Child of God, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. So, you are the child of love. We're only talking about love or fear. So, the Course says, child of love, you were created. Why were you created? You were created to create. What was it that you were created to create? You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. You were created to create. You were created to create. You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Don't forget this. Don't forget this. Don't forget this. You were created to create what? The good, the beautiful, and the innocent. The Course in Miracles says holy means innocent. Holy means beautiful. Holy means guiltless. So in the Course, and holy means love. So you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the innocent. Don't forget this. Don't forget this. Then the Course says the love of God. For a little while, it still must be expressed from my body to your body, through one body to another body, because we don't see who we really are, because we don't see who we really are yet. The Course in Miracles says, so for a little while, love must still be expressed from one body to another. It's okay to express love through one body to another. It's okay to express love through the body. It is okay. You see it right here on this page. The love of God for a little while must still be expressed through one body to another, because our vision, our sight of who we really are is so dim, because we don't see who we really are as children of love and children of God. And we don't realize yet that we are unlimited and we're beyond the body. So for a little while, we have to express love through one body to another body. So how do you use the body best? How can you best use your body? Well, you can use your body best by using your body the way you're using your body right now. We're using our body to remember the truth. We're using our body to learn the Course in Miracles. That's the same as using your body to help you enlarge your perception. You're using your body to enlarge your perception because you're using your body to watch this presentation. You're using your body to study the truth. Now, do you know that your physical eye is incapable of real vision? Because real vision goes beyond the physical. Real vision goes beyond the physical. So that means real vision goes beyond what the body can see. The real vision of love goes beyond what the body can see. So you're not going to have real vision through your physical eyes. You're going to have real vision when you learn how to go beyond what you see physically. When you see the love in me, the truth in me beyond my body, that's when you have real vision. Nancy Gray, hello Nancy, she says real relationships come from inside of us, from the love in us, from the peace in us. That's right. Joanne says the physical eye is incapable of real vision. Hello, Joanne. Kim says, I was created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. And that's what you do. And I need to remember this. And I need to remember this too, Kim. Also, Kim's comment is we are created to create the good, the holy, and the beautiful. And Jim says you can use your body best to help you enlarge your perception so you can achieve real vision, of which the physical eye is incapable. Carolyn says it's awesome to go back to the beginning. That's right, it's awesome to go back to the beginning. All right, Alita says, let me have real vision. All right, so that second paragraph, it told us why we were created in the first place. In case you were wondering why you were created in the first place, why were you created in the first place? You were created in the first place so that you could create some good stuff, so that you could create some beautiful stuff, so that you can create some holy stuff. Now, you got to express your love through the body for a little while because our vision is still so dim. But you can use your body best. The best way to use your body is to enlarge your vision. So that means the best way to use your body is to use your body to learn the truth and to use your body to remove all the blocks to the awareness of the presence of love. Learning to use your body to wake up. Learning to use your body for more love and more enlightenment and more truth. That is the body's only true usefulness. The only true usefulness of the body, according to A Course in Miracles, is to use it to enlarge your perception of love. So let's go to paragraph 3, chapter 1, section 7, paragraph 3. I'm going to read that paragraph next. Fantasy is a distorted form of vision. Fantasy is a distorted form of vision. Fantasies of any kind are distortions. Fantasies of any kind are distortions. Fantasies of any kind are distortions because fantasies always involve twisting perception into unreality. Actions that stem from distortions are literally the reactions of those who know not what they do. Fantasy, fantasy, fantasy. Fantasy is an attempt to control reality. What? Fantasy is an attempt to control reality according to false needs. Listen to me now. Fantasy is an attempt to control reality according to false needs. Fantasy is an attempt to control reality according to false needs. Twist reality in any way, and you are perceiving destructively. Twist reality in any way, and you are perceiving destructively. Fantasies are a means of making false associations and attempting to obtain pleasure from false associations. But although you can perceive false associations, you can never make false associations real except to yourself. You believe in what you make. 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 If you offer miracles, you will be equally strong in your belief in miracles if you offer miracles. The strength of your conviction will then sustain the belief of the miracle receiver. Fantasies become totally unnecessary as the wholly satisfying nature of reality becomes apparent to both giver and receiver. Fantasies become totally unnecessary. When do fantasies become unnecessary? As the totally satisfying nature of reality becomes apparent to both the giver and the receiver. Do you know that reality is lost through usurpation? Reality is lost through usurpation, and usurpation produces tyranny. As long as a single slave remains to walk the earth, as long as a single slave remains to walk this earth, as long as a single slave remains to walk this earth, your release is not complete. Your release is not complete as long as a single slave remains to walk the earth. Complete restoration of the sonship, complete restoration of all of us is the only goal of the miracle-minded. Okay, that paragraph was loaded. My ego has been messing with my throat lately. It's been trying to stop me from saying the truth because I'm really getting off on this. And I'm really being blown away by the Course in Miracles. After all these years, I'm still blown away by it. And I'm going to tell you, this section was the section that this Course in Miracles group was studying the very first night that I went to a Course in Miracles study group back in November of 1980. When I went to that Course in Miracles study group, this is the section that they were reading. And I thought it was so appropriate for me because, man, you talking about a guy that was into fantasies. Woo! I loved to have my fantasies. And I loved to have my fantasies fulfilled. I was constantly fantasizing. I was fantasizing about the kind of house I wanted, the kind of relationship I wanted, the money that I wanted, the trips I wanted to take, how I wanted to be so successful in the world. These were all really fantasies. I was coming up with all the different things I thought that I needed to experience in order to be happy. And these were my fantasies. So the Course in Miracles definition of fantasy was not something that I really liked when I first heard it. So what is the Course in Miracles definition of fantasy? It says fantasy is a distorted form of seeing things. A fantasy is a distorted form of vision. So why is a fantasy a distorted form of seeing? Well, fantasies are distortions because when you're having fantasies, you're really twisting perception into unreality. You are constantly focused in on what is not there. When you're having a fantasy, you're not in the present. When you're having a fantasy, you're not in the present. The present is where reality is. So fantasies involve twisting perception into unreality. So actions that stem from distortions, the Course is saying actions that stem from fantasies. And the Course in Miracles defines a fantasy really as something that's rooted in fear, because it's not something that really exists and it's not something you can really count on. So when the Course talks about fantasies, fantasy is just another form of fear. It's just another definition of fear. So actions that stem from distortions are the reactions of those who don't know what they're doing. So when you're focused on fantasies, you really don't know what you're doing, because when you're focused on a fantasy, you're focused on something that's not real. You're focused on something that's not present. You're focusing on something that's not true. You're twisting reality into something that you think you want it to be. So the Course says, when you have a fantasy, what are you doing? When you have a fantasy, he says you're attempting to control reality according to false needs. What is a false need? It's any need that I think I have other than God. A false need is anything that I think I need other than oneness, God, truth, love. The Course in Miracles keeps it simple. The only thing that matters is love. The only thing that's important is love. The only thing that's real is the Creator. The only thing that's real is our relationship to our Creator. So fantasy is an attempt to control reality according to false needs. I've made up these needs that I think I have, and I'm trying to control everything and everybody around me in order to fulfill my fantasies. I just want you to fulfill my fantasy. I just want you to do whatever I want you to do, the way I want you to do it. And if you do everything I want you to do, the way I made up in my mind that you should do it, then I'm going to be happy. Well, the Course in Miracles says that's an attempt to control reality according to false needs. And when you fantasize, the Course says, well, what you're doing is twisting reality. And it says, if you twist reality in any way, you are perceiving destructively. So if I perceive anything other than love, I'm really perceiving destructively. If I perceive anything other than God, I'm perceiving destructively. The Course in Miracles is talking about love or fear. It's talking about God or the ego. Keep it simple. Fantasies are a means of making false associations and attempting to obtain pleasure from false associations. So it's saying the same thing. I'm coming up with what I think is going to turn me on. I'm coming up with what I think is going to make me happy. And I'm attempting to give myself pleasure through things that are not happening right now, through things that are not present right now, through people that are not present right now. That is a false association. So if I associate my happiness with things that I don't have, with things that are not present, then that is a false association. And the Course says I'm attempting to gain pleasure from a false association. Then it says, but although you can perceive false associations, you can never make false associations real except to yourself. So my fantasies are really only real to me. My fantasies are my fantasies. Your fantasies are your fantasies. My fantasies are my fantasies. And my fantasies aren't real except to me. And your fantasies aren't real except to you. And then the next sentence, the Course in Miracles, do you know that in the next sentence, the Course in Miracles gives us a universal law? What is the universal law? You believe in what you make. You believe in what you make. You believe in what you make. So whatever you make is what you believe in. So whatever you believe in, because you're the one that determines what you believe. You're the one that determines what you accept as true. No matter what someone says to you, no matter what you read, it's up to you whether you believe it or not. And so you believe in what you make because you believe in the beliefs you make. You believe in the beliefs you accept. So the strength of your conviction, he says, if you offer miracles, if you offer the truth, if you offer love, you will be equally strong in your belief in miracles. So if I offer you miracles, if I offer you correct perceptions, then I'm going to be equally strong in my belief in those correct perceptions. So what is that saying? The Course is saying whatever you offer to somebody else, you're going to be equally strong in your belief in that. If I'm offering love to you, I become strong in my belief in love. If I'm offering fear to you, judgment, criticism, then I'm going to be equally strong in my belief in that. If you offer miracles, you will be strong in your belief in miracles. If you offer love, if you offer truth, you will be strong in your belief in truth. The strength of your conviction will then sustain the belief of the miracle receiver. If I really believe in something and I'm strong in that conviction, I can temporarily sustain the belief of the person that's receiving the love. If a person gives you love with conviction, then you really believe that that love that they're giving you is real. If someone gives you something with conviction, then the Course says it will sustain the belief of the miracle receiver. You are the love receiver. So the strength of your conviction, when you give that love to someone else, it will sustain the belief of the miracle receiver. Fantasies become totally unnecessary as the wholly satisfying nature of reality becomes apparent to both giver and receiver. What does that mean? If you were really happy and satisfied, you would need to fantasize. Because when you fantasize and you're imagining something that will make you happy in the future, something that you're hoping will happen in the future. But if your life was totally satisfying to you right now, if you were receiving miracles of love right now and miracles of joy right now, you would not be fantasizing. You wouldn't be fantasizing because you would be too busy accepting and appreciating the love and the happiness that you have right here, right now. So if you're fantasizing all the time, then it means that the totally satisfying nature of reality is not apparent to you. Love is not truly apparent to you if you're fantasizing, because love is totally satisfying. If you were really experiencing love, there would be no need to fantasize. Reality is lost through usurpation, which produces tyranny. As long as a single slave remains to walk the earth, your release isn't complete. So as long as there's anybody walking this earth who is in fear, grievance, separation, if there's anybody on this earth still caught up in the ego and fear, then my release is not complete, because you are me. We are all connected. We are all one. So if you're not free, I'm not free. And if I'm not free, you are not free. As long as there's a single slave, as long as there's a single person walking this earth who feels a lack of love and does not know the connection to source, then your release isn't complete. Nancy says, I like that. Keep it simple. Love or fear, Holy Spirit or ego. Quanta says, cancel fantasies. That's right, Quanta. Alita says, I believe in what I make. I believe in what I make. I decide what I believe. These are all comments. Miracles are correct perceptions. So, what is the only goal of the miracle minded? Well, if all I want is love, all I want is miracle mindedness, all I want is peace, if all I want is freedom, if all I want is love, then the Course says that my one goal should be the complete restoration of the family of God. Think about that for a minute. If it should pause, don't do anything. It will come back if the video pauses. Just wait. So, do you know that I want to be a miracle-minded person? And since I want to be a miracle-minded person, I just want the complete restoration of love for everyone. I want the complete restoration of love and happiness for everyone. So that's what a miracle-minded person wants. So you can tell when you are a miracle-minded person. Why? Because if you're a miracle-minded person, all you want is the complete restoration of creation. You just want the complete restoration of love for everyone. So this next paragraph is a very powerful paragraph. But remember what I said about fantasies. Fantasy is a distorted form of perception. It's trying to satisfy yourself according to false needs. It's not being present. It's not recognizing the love of God that's in you right now. And if you were really happy and experiencing the love of God, you would just be extending it. You wouldn't be having a lot of fantasies. You would not be trying to satisfy yourself through things outside of yourself that you can't really count on or depend on. So let's do chapter 1, section 7, paragraph 4 in the text. This is a course in mind training. This is a course in mind training. All learning involves attention and study at some level. All learning involves attention and study at some level. All learning involves attention and study. What? All learning involves attention and study at some level. Some of the later parts of the course rest too heavily on these earlier sections not to require their careful study. Some of the later parts of the Course in Miracles, don't you know that it's going to rely real heavily on these early parts of the Course in Miracles? Some of the later parts of the Course in Miracles is going to rely real heavily on the earlier parts of A Course in Miracles. So the earlier parts of A Course in Miracles require careful study. Do you realize that some of the stuff in the later part of the Course relies heavily on what you study in the earlier parts of the Course? Many times over the years, I have met people who tell me, I just open up the Course in Miracles anywhere, and then wherever it opens, that's where I'd read. Let me tell you something. You're going to open up, if you do the Course like that, it's a good chance you're going to open that book up somewhere, and it's going to scare the hell out of you, because you're not going to have the earlier sections to bring you to the point that you understand what the later sections are saying. The Course in Miracles is not that kind of book. It's not the kind of book that you just open it up anywhere and you'll understand what you're reading. It is not that kind of book. You see it right here. It says some of the later parts of the Course rest too heavily on these earlier sections not to require their careful study. You will also need the earlier sections of the course for preparation. You need the earlier sections of the course for preparation. Without careful study of the earlier sections of the course, you may become much too fearful of what is to come to make constructive use of it. If you don't study the earlier sections of the course, so that the earlier sections of the course can prepare you for the later sections of the course, it could frighten you too much to make constructive use of the later sections of the course. Do you hear what it's saying? Don't analyze that. There's nothing to analyze about that. Number one, the Course in Miracles is a course in mind training. Number two, if you're going to learn anything, you're going to have to give it some attention and study. You will not get the Course in Miracles if you never study it and never do the workbook lessons. You cannot possibly say you really want to master what the course is teaching and not be willing to give the course some attention and study. Then what did it say? It says some of the later parts of the course rest too heavily on the earlier sections of the course not to carefully study the earlier sections of the course. The Course in Miracles says what else? That you need these earlier sections of the course, because the earlier sections of A Course in Miracles prepares you for the whole curriculum and what you will learn and hear in the later sections of the course. And if you don't really study the earlier sections of the course, you may read some things in the later sections of the course that frighten you so much that you may not be able to take advantage of what the Course in Miracles is teaching. However, as you study these earlier sections, what's going to happen? You will begin to see some of the implications that are going to be amplified later on. That was a full paragraph. That was a very powerful paragraph. So remember this. In chapter 1, section 7, paragraph 5 says, a solid foundation is necessary. What is necessary? A solid foundation. Okay, so how did the course just say we would have a solid foundation? It said you would have a solid foundation if you were to understand that the Course in Miracles is a course in mind training, and that the Course in Miracles requires that you give it some attention and study. And that the later parts of the Course in Miracles relies heavily on these earlier parts. So that if you don't study these earlier parts and prepare yourself, you won't be able to make constructive use of the later parts of the course because it would cause too much fear. And it says a solid foundation is necessary because of the confusion between fear and awe, to which I have already referred and which is often made. Now, what does that mean? Jesus says, I have said. What does Jesus of the Course say? Jesus of the Course says, I have said that all is inappropriate. All is inappropriate. All is inappropriate in connection with the sons of God. So when you're in the presence of another child of God, all being in awe of each other, the Course in Miracles says being in awe of each other is inappropriate. That being in awe of each other is an inappropriate response in connection with the children of God. So why is being in awe of each other inappropriate? Because you should not experience awe in the presence of your equals. We are equals. Everybody is your equal. So you should not be in awe of your equals. We are equal to each other. So the Course in Miracles says it is inappropriate to be in awe of each other. It's appropriate to love and appreciate each other, but it's not appropriate to be in awe of each other because we are all equals. However, it was also emphasized that all is proper when it's all proper. All is proper in the presence of your Creator. In the presence of God, all is proper. So what are you saying? You should be in awe of the Creator. You should be in awe of God. You should be in awe of your Creator. You should be in awe of God. It's proper. to be in awe of God. It is proper to be in awe of God. It's not proper to be in awe of each other. Why is it not proper to be in awe of each other? Because awe is inappropriate in the presence of your equals. But you should be in awe of God. There is nothing wrong with being in awe of God. God is awesome. 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 And God is love, and God is awesome. Woo! Jesus says, I have been careful to clarify my role in the atonement, which is the undoing of fear, the correction of error. Atonement is the undoing of fear. Atonement is the correction of error. Atonement is forgiveness. So Jesus says, I have been careful to clarify my role in the atonement. I've been careful to clarify my role in the atonement without either over or understating my role. Jesus then says, I am also trying to do the same with your role. I'm trying to make you aware of your role, which is to want the complete restoration of love and to be here to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. That is your role. And he says, I am also trying to do the same with your role. I'm telling you what my role is, and I'm also trying to tell you what your role is. And then Jesus of the Course says, I have stressed that awe is not an appropriate reaction to me. So Jesus is saying that you should not be in awe of Jesus because Jesus is your elder brother. And so the Course says you should be willing to listen and obey an elder brother because of your elder brother's wisdom. But Jesus says in the Course, awe is not an appropriate reaction to me. So why is awe not an appropriate reaction to Jesus? Why is it that being in awe of Jesus is not appropriate? Because he says of our inherent equality. So Jesus in the Course is saying that we are all equal, that we are all equal children of God. We are all equal children of God. We are all equal children of God. Then it says some of the later steps in this course. What? Some of the later steps in the Course in Miracles. What do some of the later steps in the Course in Miracles involve? What does some of the later steps in the Course in Miracles involve? The later steps in the Course in Miracles involve a more direct approach to God. That's why you don't want to frighten yourself. Some of the later steps in A Course in Miracles involves you having a more direct approach to God, the Creator, and love. So the later parts of the Course, are going to involve a more direct approach to God. It wouldn't be wise to start on these steps that would give you a direct contact with God. The Course says it wouldn't be wise to start on these steps without what? Careful preparation. Do you see what it's doing? The Course is saying to you over and over again, study these earlier sections of the Course in Miracles. Don't hop around the Course in Miracles. Study it from front to back. Study it from front to back. Start at the beginning. Start with the earlier sections and give them attention and study. And there's going to be more of a direct approach to God in the later sections of the Course in Miracles. And unless you are prepared, because you have studied, then you are going to confuse awe with fear, according to the Course. And you're going to have an experience that will be more traumatic than beatific. I'm telling you, what did it just warn us? Study the earlier parts of the Course in Miracles so that when you get to the later parts of the Course in Miracles, you won't freak out. and you will have a beneficial experience rather than a traumatic experience. So healing is of God in the end. So it's God that does the healing. You are not going to do the healing. God is the one that's going to heal everything. God is who is going to heal everything. It's the Creator that's going to heal everything. It's love that's going to heal everything. Healing is of love in the end. Healing is of God in the end. So the means are being carefully explained to you. So what is the Course in Miracles doing? The Course in Miracles is carefully explaining the means for your healing and your happiness. It's telling you how your healing and happiness is going to happen. The means are being carefully explained to you. You are not the healer. 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 You can't heal anybody. You don't ever heal anybody. When people say, I am a healer, that's an egotistical statement. You are not a healer. You are a means for God to heal. You are a conduit for God to heal others. The Course says you can't even heal yourself. You can't even keep yourself happy more than a few hours or minutes at a time. How in the heck are you the healer of everyone else? How are you going to make everybody else happy? You can't make everybody else happy. Only the Creator, only love can make those happy. You can be a channel. You can create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. But you are not the healer. God is the healer. And the means for healing are being carefully, it says carefully explained to you. Revelation. And what did the Course say revelation is? Revelation is an experience of unspeakable love. The Course in Miracles says revelation is an experience of unspeakable love. Revelation is an experience of unspeakable love. Revelation, which is an experience of unspeakable love. Revelation is an experience of unspeakable love. So revelation may occasionally reveal the end to you. An experience of unspeakable love may occasionally reveal how it's going to turn out. When you have an experience of unspeakable love, when you have an experience of unspeakable love, now you know how it's going to turn out. It's going to turn out in unspeakable love. Unspeakable love. Love so awesome that you can't even put it in words. That's how it's going to all turn out. I don't care what you're going through now. It doesn't matter what you're going through now. It doesn't matter what you're going through now. Revelation, which is unspeakable love. Unspeakable love is what is waiting for you in the end. Revelation may occasionally reveal the end to you, but to reach unspeakable love, to reach the end, to reach revelation, the means are needed. You need the means to reach unspeakable love. You need the means to reach unspeakable love. You need the means to reach unspeakable love. So, I'm going to do a recap in just a moment of this very powerful section that was about the distortion of miracle impulses and talking about fantasies and how fantasies are a distorted form of perception. But fantasies are not a sin. They're nothing to feel guilty about. It just means you're focusing on something that's not true, which means you're overlooking the love that is available to you in each moment right now. Mighty companions, thank you for watching this, and I'm going to do a quick review. And I'm a full-time teacher of A Course in Miracles. This is my calling. This is what I do in the world. So if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation to support my teaching ministry, I would greatly appreciate it. If you find value in my classes and presentations and you feel moved to support what I'm doing, I really appreciate it. Go to Earl Purdy, www.earlpurdy.com. That's my website. You spell my last name Purdy. And if you like to share through using Venmo, Then my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. My email is my name. And I really appreciate you sharing with me, those of you who do. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm available for one-on-one sessions. I've been doing them for almost 40 years, showing people how to use the teachings of the Course and metaphysical teachings to resolve issues in their life, to allow them to have the kind of joy and happiness that they deserve, and also to give you tips and insights into how to study the Course and how to allow the Course in Miracles to bring miracles into your life. So I do one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions. I've also been a soul purpose astrologer and numerologist for 40 years, and that's how I got introduced to the Course ultimately. And so I also use my knowledge of astrology and numerology if you're open to that. But it's not necessary for you to be open to that for me to be able to counsel with you. So it's called a clarity session. So go to my website and it explains my clarity sessions, and you can self-book an appointment with me right there online. And there are hundreds of classes online at my website that you can listen to for free that are audio and video. And also I have lots of videos on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Thank you for watching these Facebook Live presentations, Mighty Companions. On Sundays at 1 o'clock Mountain Time, I do a Facebook Live on A Course in Miracles. On Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do a Facebook Live on some material that is fantastic called The Way of Mastery. And then on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do Hardcore Course in Miracles. And you can watch it on Facebook on the Earl Purdy page. Please like my page on Facebook and follow my page. Then you'll be notified whenever I go live. You'll get a little message. Wow! And share these videos. Please share these videos so that more people will get a chance to listen to this. Okay, so let's do a quick review and then we'll call it a night. Okay, so the Course in Miracles says what? It says that we experience a distortion of love impulses, that sometimes we mistake physical impulses for love impulses. Just because you're having a deep physical impulse towards someone or something doesn't mean that that's a love impulse. And also the Course in Miracles says that sometimes our physical impulses are just misdirected love impulses. And what else did it say? Well, it said that all real pleasure, if you really want to know what pleasure is, real pleasure comes from doing God's will. And God's will, according to the Course in Miracles, God's will, thank you, Renew, God's will for you is perfect happiness. In case you're wondering what God's will is for you, God's will is perfect happiness. And the Course in Miracles says you are God's will. What else did the Course tell us? Don't deceive yourself. How do you deceive yourself? By believing that you can relate in peace to people through things of the external, instead of recognizing that you really relate in peace through people, to people from inside love to outside. Then what else did it say? It says, what were you created for? You were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. That's why you're here. You're here to create the good, the beautiful, and the innocent, the beautiful, and the holy. Then, what did the Course in Miracles say about expressing love through the body? The Course in Miracles says, you know what? For a little while, you're going to still have to express through love through one body to another body. So don't feel like the Course in Miracles is condemning you expressing love through the body. But how did the Course in Miracles say you could use the body best? The Course in Miracles said that you can use the body best to enlarge your perception, to enlarge your perception of love, to enlarge your perception of truth. The Course in Miracles says that your physical eye can't really achieve real vision. But learning to use your body to enlarge your perception of love, learning to use your body to enlarge your perception of truth, the Course says learning to do that is the body's only true usefulness. So what is the true usefulness of the body? The true usefulness of the body is for you to use the body for the truth, to learn the truth. Then the Course told us that fantasies are just a distorted form of vision. That fantasies are just you trying to satisfy yourself according to false needs that you're making up. That the only real pleasure, the only real happiness is going to come through real love, God, right here, in the present, right now. And the Course told us that if you were really enjoying and connecting with the love of God, then you wouldn't even fantasize because you would be so totally satisfied. Also, what else did the Course say? The Course said that this is a course in mind training. So you're going to need to give it some attention. You're going to need to do some study. And it said you need to really learn the earlier sections of the Course. Because if you don't learn the earlier sections of the Course, it says that the later sections of the Course, it's a good chance it's going to scare the hell out of you. So the Course in Miracles is not something you just hop around and think that you're going to get what it's saying. It says that if you don't study the earlier sections of the Course and study it for preparation, you might become too afraid of what you're going to study and read later to make constructive use of it. So then the Course in Miracles said to us tonight that you need a solid foundation. And it also told us that that solid foundation is going to come through your attention and study. What was another thing we heard out of this section? We were told that we shouldn't be in awe of each other. You shouldn't be in awe of anybody. You should not be in awe of anybody because everybody is your equal. Everyone is your equal. Even Jesus said, don't be in awe of me because I'm your equal. But Jesus also said you should be in awe of God. You should be in awe of God. You should be in awe of the Creator. You should be in awe of the Creator. What else did the Course says? It's unwise to start on these steps without careful preparation. And that, what was the other thing that the Course says? It says healing is of God in the end. So it's God that's going to heal your life. It's God that's going to heal my life. It's God that's going to heal everything. So what is your role? Your role is to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. You're here to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. That's why you are here. But healing is of God in the end. You are going to experience what? Unspeakable love. That's where you're headed. You are headed to unspeakable love. That's how this movie is going to turn out. Isn't that wonderful? You're going to be experiencing unspeakable love. But you need to have the means to reach it. The Course requires attention and study. The Course in Miracles requires attention and study. Attention and study. Attention and study. That's what it requires. And you'll end up in unspeakable love. Mighty companions, I appreciate you so much. You help me remember the truth that sets me free. And you are good, you are beautiful, and you are holy. Listen to this many, many times and spread it. I'm so glad to see all of you online. Awesome. Rhonda, Kim, Yvette, Jim, Renew, all of you mighty companions. Don't forget, healing in the end is going to be of God, and God is love. I love you. See you later.